All right, let's dive into the story of a database that, let's be honest, a lot of people probably wrote off as old news. But here's the thing, it's quietly powering some of the most modern, cloud-driven parts of our world. This is the incredible reinvention of MySQL. I mean, think about that for a second. A database that's been around for more than 25 years, not just surviving, but thriving in the cloud? It sounds kind of crazy, right? It's the sort of thing that just shouldn't be happening, and it really forces us to rethink what we mean when we talk about legacy tech. So, what does today's MySQL actually look like? Well, forget what you thought you knew. We're talking about genuine cloud-native scaling. We're talking about running real-time analytics right inside the database, no extra tools needed. And the SQL itself, it's been supercharged to handle modern stuff like JSON and even geographical data. It plays nice with Kubernetes, and you'd be shocked to find out it's the invisible backbone for some of the biggest SaaS and fintech platforms out there. Okay, so how did we get here? This massive transformation didn't just happen overnight. It was all thanks to a huge upgrade that happened under the hood, specifically with the release of version 8.0. You could say this was the moment everything changed. So let's pop the hood and see what innovations really made this happen. MySQL 8.0 was way more than just an update. It was basically a fundamental rewrite. First off, they finally got rid of those ancient, clunky .frm files by bringing in a native data dictionary. Huge deal. Then they introduced something called Atomic DDL, which made changing your database schema actually reliable. A massive sigh of relief for developers everywhere. And for all the data analysts out there, they got goodies like window functions and CTEs, common table expressions. These are tools that make your really complex queries so much easier to write and understand. On top of all that, they beefed up replication and security with a real honest-to-goodness roles system. It was a total overhaul. And this slide right here, this gets to the core of why Atomic DDL was such a game changer. Before version 8.0, anytime you wanted to change a table's structure, well, you were basically holding your breath and crossing your fingers. If that process failed halfway through, and it could, you were left with a total mess, an inconsistent, broken database. Now, the entire change is a single unit. It either all works perfectly, or it all fails and rolls back safely. No in between. It's the kind of reliability you'd expect from a pricey enterprise system, but right here in open source. All right, we've talked a lot about the technical stuff, the what. But let's get to the so what. Why does any of this really matter? To understand that, we've got to look at it from the perspective of the people who are in the trenches with this data every single day, the data analysts. For them, this wasn't just an update, it was a revolution. Just think about how people used to have to work. The old way was, well, it was a pain. If you needed to do any kind of serious analysis, you had to jump through all these hoops. You'd export your data, fire up Python or R, do all your complex calculations over there, and then finally, try to import the results back into the database. It was slow, clunky, and just plain complicated. But now, the new way is to do the entire thing right there inside MySQL with a single, powerful SQL query. That's not just an improvement. It's a massive, massive leap in how you work. And this quote, it really just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Longevity in databases comes from adaptation. This whole story we're telling, it's not really about a list of new features. It's about something much bigger. It's about a classic piece of technology figuring out how to evolve, how to adapt to survive and stay relevant in a world that is constantly changing. But you can't really get the full picture of MySQL's story without zooming out a little bit. See, it doesn't exist in a bubble. Because it's open source, it spawned a whole family of related projects, creating this big, vibrant ecosystem around the core idea. So while Oracle is the official steward of the main MySQL project, its open source DNA meant that other people could take the code and run with it. This created what we call forks, basically alternative versions with their own unique features and ideas. You've probably heard of the big ones like MariaDB and Percona. And you might think this splits the community, but actually, it's a sign of a really healthy ecosystem. It gives users choice, and it keeps everyone on their toes with a little friendly competition. And here's the kicker. Despite all that competition, from its own family no less, the original MySQL is still an absolute powerhouse. I mean, it's powering everything from a huge chunk of the internet's blogs to the core transactional systems of global fintech platforms. Its reach is just as massive as it's ever been. And that, right there, is proof of just how powerful this ongoing evolution has been. So, when you put it all together, what's the secret sauce? How did this old-school tech manage to pull this off? It really boils down to one thing. It's a true masterclass in adaptation. And the lessons from this journey are crystal clear. 1, you have to keep innovating, or you become a relic. 2, if you're not building for the cloud today, you're already behind. 3, bringing powerful analytics into the database itself is a huge win for everyone, saving time and cutting down on complexity. And maybe the most important lesson of all, you have to find that sweet spot, that perfect balance between being totally reliable and stable while still pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Yeah, this timeline really tells the whole story, doesn't it? It all started back in 1995 as this scrappy little disruptor taking on the big, expensive guys. Then it goes through this whole corporate phase, first with Sun and then with Oracle, and then, bam, 2018 hits, MySQL 8.0 is launched, and it's like a total rebirth. That's the moment it truly became the modern cloud-native powerhouse it is today. And that brings us to this final thought, because really, the story of MySQL isn't just about a database, is it? It's a blueprint for how to stay relevant, how to endure. And it really makes you think. In this industry that moves at lightning speed, what does it actually take for a piece of technology to achieve true, lasting longevity?